In Bangladesh, for the most part, the bond market is pretty much missing. Capital markets that we have two, the Dhaka Stock Exchange and the Chittagong Stock Exchange. Why do you suppose, in your opinion, the size of our markets hasn't developed to the extent that the economy is developing?
If you look at the ratios to begin with, the market capitalization ratio of Dhaka Stock Exchange, which is the premier exchange of the country, was 11.12% of the GDP in the fiscal year ending June of 2020. And Chittagong Stock Exchange, it was even low, it was 8.72%. So that tells you that it is significantly low in terms of where it should be. And if you compare it with some of the market cap to GDP ratio in some of the countries around the region, say for example, India's BSEC Sensex, which is the Mumbai Stock Exchange rate, they are 59.97% of the GDP in terms of market cap. China is about 59%, the key index. In Indonesia, it's about 45%. Even in Sri Lanka, it's about 20% close to it. Pakistan is about 18%. Surprisingly, Nepal, which is in terms of the size of the economy, is much smaller than ours. They are at 45.6%. One of the reasons why capital market did not flourish the way it's meant to, or it was meant to in Bangladesh, is because there has been an over-dependency for the entrepreneurs or startup businesses to go to banks for financing their projects. Actually, this is basically a conceptual wrong. The reason being, the banks are only supposed to provide working capital and trade financing, whereas in Bangladesh, since the inception of after independence, most of the industries were nationalized, and we went through a process of then giving it back to the owners, and then the private sector started to invest on their own. And when they started doing that, that time also coincided with the permission of private-owned banks. The first-generation banks, I think, came about in early 80s. And then, of course, the second-generation banks and others came in. But then those banks started to give, 5-year, 7-year project loans to, investors or entrepreneurs to go in and set up their factories and whatnot. And at that particular time also, some of the key export sectors of the country were also at an initial stage. So you can see that it made a difference at that time. I think that's one of the key reasons why the capital market did not grow as much, because the banks gave the long-term project financing facility to entrepreneurs.